Cameroon bracing to commemorate the 48th anniversary of its National Day in calm and temerity, but with very shining and shouting examples of living together, which have stood the test of time since the country came to the Unity State in 1972. It is fast becoming one of the key defining features of Cameroon, if not its national identity, the ATOGHO embroidery from the grassfield regions of Cameroon, which now cuts across national and international borders, proudly adorned by Cameroonians and non-Cameroonians alike, wherever and whoever they are. PWD Social Club of Bamenda has been declared winner of the 2019-2020 Elite One Championship following the premature end of the championship decreed by the Cameroon Football Federation owing to the COVID-19 exigencies. Those are our top stories. Hello, thanks for joining us on the program. I am Benn, MENO, POUFONG, and this is the 7:30 News. We open with our special page, and in a nation which is built by many ethnic groups living together has been challenging sometimes. However, there is a collective effort to uphold social cohesion and lay down on differences which are, of course, a source of division. Obala, on the outskirts of Yaoundé and its a cosmopolitan area, illustrates this effort perfectly well. Being a transit point, its people have this culture of hospitality, and there are even success stories of intermarriage and a medley of cultures. Constantine Bomb tells us the Obala success story in this following report.
Obala is located in the Lekkie division, some 45 kilometers north of Yaoundé. Entering the town, one expects to hear only the Ito language spoken, but this is not the case, as the town today inhabits people from across the national territory.
You can describe Obala as a very welcoming city, because here, as you may see, if you go around the town, you will see people who are settled here are from all the regions of Cameroon. I went to Douala. I stayed there for 10 years. When I came back, I noticed that my town has not changed in the way people are welcoming the others and the way people are mingling together and the way people live together.
Living together is a reality in Obala. The different ethnic groups see Obala as a land of glory for all, with intertribal marriages helping to cement the spirit of living together.
There are many mixed couples here, and you will see people here who are called Elundu Kamga. And you will see people from the north and the west regions who speak the mother tongue better than those who are born here.
Obala, after Yaoundé, hosts the second biggest Muslim community in the central region. The Muslim community keeps growing, and they are fully integrated, living alongside the host community.
The Tones are our brothers. We have no problem with them. They welcomed us and we live here together with them. It is a strong bond that has been existing for long.
A rapidly expanding community, and not far from Obala town, another Grand North locality could be found at Kometung.
This hut is to show the people that Cameroon has a unique, diverse community. You can bring the Grand North to the south, as well as take the south to the Grand North. For someone who has never gone to the north, he can have the experience of the north here.
In a nation where so many ethnic groups and tribes form this great triangle called Cameroon, living together will always be a challenge, but the people of Obala have committed themselves to that collective will of making living together a reality.
And through the May 20 National Day event, Cameroonians celebrate the national integration, which is visible in million ways in our society. Let's focus on the story of this permanent figure in the transport sector in the Northwest region, Jules Ngula, who owns the Amumes and Bus Agency. He left his native West region and is making fortunes in the Northwest region, which he describes as the only greener pasture he has ever known out of his West region of origin. Jolenta Rosa Fanyi tells us his story.
This is one of the leading transport companies in Bamenda. that employs a good number of youths and contributes to the development of the Northwest region.
When we created our company, we decided the name of the company is Lofinism. Since Cameroon is bilingual, they just decided to write it. Lofinism means Amunism.
Born out of the love for Bamenda, the man most people here refer to as Amu Mezam hails from the West region.
My father came to establish himself here since the 50s. I was born with here. All my juniors born, and myself, I got married here.
According to him, the two official languages of Cameroon should not be a barrier or an element of division among people. He, however, decries the socio-political stalemate that has dragged on in the region, destroying the economic potentials.
All our kids left the region. It means so many companies were even installed here. I know even one manufacturing, they carry all the machines away. It means they will be paying taxes, but out of this region, where they will develop that region.
His fervent wish, like that of many, is for peace to be restored to the region and for the unity to continue.
It cuts across the 10 regions of Cameroon, a traditional regalia peculiar to the people of the grass fields, the ATOGHO, they call it. Today, it is a symbol of national integration, a dress designed usually with the use of multicolored embroidery, green, red, yellow, and you name them, which once worn tell of a patriotic people true to their motherland. In the following report, Yoti Kalelisonge concurs that the ATOGHO is proudly worn by many a Cameroonian both at home and abroad.
The feeling most people get when dressed up in the ATOGHO, otherwise referred to as the Bamenda dress.
I feel like a king with the dressing of ATOGHO. I'm from West region. As I'm a Cameroonian, I'm happy to appear this way.
Every stitch, color, as well as design like the gong and horn on the fabric is intentional.
Cameroonian, we love it. Most of the people love it because you can see it's Cameroonian made. All thing is about green, red, yellow on it.
It is indeed worn by all Cameroonians.
I have royalties that buy the ATOGHO, then most people of hierarchy.
It is now being produced like suit. You see the ATOGHO, somebody will pick up a shirt and put on, which is like the ATOGHO. And we are using it now like it is kind of national integration. That you see somebody from the central region will put on the ATOGHO. Then an Anglophone will say, my brother, how are you? You say, say, comment? He said, oh, I thought that you are from my village. And then now you see how it is also helping for bilingualism.
An alluring garment that transcends Cameroon's borders.
The ATOGHO is selling out of Cameroon. This cap like this, they call it Foncha cap. It is what goes with the ATOGHO. Believe me that if you are traveling anywhere in the world, you put on this cap, they will even the white people will identify you like a Cameroonian.
The cost price for the stitch garment ranges from 10 to 15,000 CFA francs for kids and 15,000 to 300,000 CFA francs for adults, depending on the design. The ATOGHO is Cameroon, a regalia telling of one people, one nation, depicting the country's unity in diversity.
Away from dress and lifestyle, let's talk about the army. The Cameroonian Defense Force has for about 2 decades running already been the hub of training for international peacekeeping and peace support forces, as well as for training on war planning and war strategies. This necessity made Cameroon a permanent destination for countries and their defense forces desirous to obtain the most recent and the most updated skills in military action and military intervention. Kilian Dandifon now reports on some of the most crowd-pulling military institutions in Cameroon today.
Of Guinea was classified a few years back as the world's worst hotspot of maritime piracy, but the strategic cooperation of the member countries, including Cameroon, has brought the phenomenon under control. It is the same defense and security diplomatic understanding, with Cameroon as a major actor, that has halted the atrocities of terrorists, rebels and other insecurity perpetrators at bilateral and multilateral levels. Cameroon, Nigeria, Central African Republic and Chad are living examples. Currently, also, Cameroonian forces are in a peacekeeping and peace support mission in security-troubled Sudan. Cameroon's defense and security training institutions have become diplomatic instruments in the domain. The country is the seat of the African Peace Support Trainers Association APSTA since October 2019. The International School for Security Forces AEFORCE has for more than 15 years of its existence, with the help of partners, trained thousands of peace support and peacekeeping forces from across the world on human rights, international law, protection of vulnerable groups, etc. Our country also has the highest military training institution, the International War College, which since its creation in 2005 has graduated 14 batches of military officers from across the globe, with 40 army generals. It is currently training 61 senior officers from 24 countries, including Cameroon. This shows that the Cameroon Defense and Security Forces, through its training institutions, is a solution to problems that cut across from insecurity, conflict, terror, to diplomacy.
Thanks for watching the 7:30 News. We are broadcasting live from Yaoundé. Insurance companies are expected to take financial responsibility for the treatment and funeral charges of their clients suffering from the COVID-19 pandemic. However, some insurance companies are known to have distanced themselves from this responsibility and are only interested in the pecuniary and financial kickbacks of their policy. Luma Slim Davis now reports on why it is not only statutorily but also a legal obligation for insurers and insurance companies to fully assume their responsibilities.
The presence of the coronavirus pandemic has rendered the healthcare situation in Cameroon very complex. Patients who suffer from the COVID-19 disease sometimes get confused with how to go about their situation with their insurance companies, some of which at times decline treatment and funeral responsibilities.
What is mentioned in the contract? Is it the contract which prevents that you should be covered at any time you are sick? Is there any clauses in the contract which excludes some kind of sickness? In this case, COVID-19, if the state has taken in charge the citizens who are sick, it will not exclude the responsibility of the insurances.
However, while some insurance companies decline their responsibilities, others take their responsibilities in full.
Patients of COVID-19 benefit our insurance especially because when that disease comes, our head office take care, tell us to give insurance for patients of COVID. When we insure people, we give them our contact and we tell them to give the contact for their family. If a disease comes, you can contact the insurer and benefit the advantages of insurance.
The government is shouldering treatment and funeral charges of COVID-19 cases, but that does not stop insurance companies from taking responsibilities over their clients.
Some 97 Cameroonian families who were stuck in Addis Ababa airport following the suspension of flights owing to the COVID-19 pandemic have at last been flown back home. The Ethiopian airline flight touched down at the Nsimalen International Airport today following the intervention of the president of the Republic. Minister Ernest Ngale Masena Bibehe of Transport welcomed the nation's citizens, reassuring them of government's continuous support for their supply. Joyce Tata reports.
The aircraft carrying repatriated Cameroonians from Addis Ababa lands in Yaoundé with a well-prepared medical team and authorities on the ground. Before anything else, each individual went through thorough disinfection. Transport boss Jean-Ernest Masena Ngale Bibe on the occasion implored them to ensure they properly observe hygiene measures as the fight against COVID-19 still pushes through.
About 668 Cameroonians were blocked in foreign airports. Today, we are receiving a new batch who are undergoing a 15-minute screening by the health personnel. Those tested positive will be confined at Olembe, and the others put on medical care follow-up in their homes for 14 days.
They are the fourth batch of stranded Cameroonians from abroad back to their home country since May 9, when the operation was launched on orders of the head of state. In total, 587 Cameroonians blocked out of the country due to the coronavirus pandemic have returned to their mother's land at a cost of about 700 million CFA francs. Within the next 2 days, over 200 more Cameroonians from South Africa and India will benefit from the presidential gesture of solidarity.
Face masks are our new normal life today, as decreed by the Prime Minister, head of government, a couple of weeks ago. It is mandatory for everyone stepping out into public places to wear masks to hide them from the coronavirus. The population does not seem to weigh the importance of wearing masks and keeps turning out in public unmasked. Alice Mbe thought it wise and it was necessary to remind them about the need to wear masks in public places. Her report.
Wearing a face mask seems to be a joke to some Cameroonians who do not put on their protective mask when leaving their homes.
The importance of wearing a face mask is that it creates a barrier between you and the person wearing it. If someone is sick and does not wear a face mask, there is a high risk of the individual contaminating others. This is prevented with a mask on.
People who go out without their protective masks are more exposed and can be a victim of the COVID-19 pandemic.
Someone without a face mask on is more exposed. One can contact the disease by air or when a sick person sneezes beside him, especially while the distancing measure is not respected. Putting on face masks protects us as well as others.
The mask is not only to be worn, but has some particular directives to follow when wearing the mask.
You need to put on your face mask in a particular way. It is not an element of beauty. Some put it below their chin, others leave it hanging on their ears, while some allow it even in their pockets. Wear your face mask correctly. Protect your nostrils and mouth so you don't inhale the disease.
To assist the government in the fight against the spread of the COVID-19 in the country, people must wear their face masks before going out and to continue the practice of hygiene measures put in place by the government and the World Health Organization.
Bike riders in the Senegal Maritime, detainees of the Idea Central Prison and institutions in Idea have their capacities to fight COVID-19 reinforced thanks to the COVID-19 hygiene kits donated by the humanitarian association known as Fondation MENO, founded by the Minister of Transport, Jean-Ernest Masena Ngale Bibehe. Roselyne Foza reports on the activities of that foundation in Idea.
Jamise is clear, a holistic approach for a victory over the COVID-19 pandemic in the Senegal Maritime Division, a fight which the MENO Foundation, headed by Jean-Ernest Masena Ngale Bibehe, has opted to conquer by providing furniture and hygiene kits to the population of the division. The foundation, known for its support towards education, has this time around stretched out its hands to health institutions, Association of Bike Riders, and detainees of the Idea Central Prison, touching all 10 sub subdivisions of the Sanaga Maritime Division. Included in the package handed to beneficiaries are cartons of liquid soap as well as tablets of soaps, tap-adapted buckets, hand sanitizers, thermoflashes, 13,000 face masks, 10,000 hand gloves, and also food items destined to detainees of the Idea Central Prison, a gesture which authorities of the Sanaga Maritime Division have embraced with great joy.
I am happy to know that the donation of the head of state has inspired people. The things that have been given here is another plus to the fight.
Through this donation, the Mentanji Foundation is conscious that the coronavirus can be contracted by all, even those in remote areas, and this is what they want to avoid.
Let's now go over to the Public Health Emergency Operations Center, where the COVID-19 activities in Cameroon are being monitored. And there we have our reporter, Clarice Ray Takang. Hello, Clarice. Tell us, what do you have up your sleeves this evening for the news tonight?
Hello, Ben. Well, here at the Public Health Emergency Operations Center, it's been business as usual. It's been a very busy day. The call center has been quite busy receiving calls from different people in different parts of the country regarding coronavirus. There have been calls about the situation. There have been calls about the possible symptoms, how to identify the symptoms of the coronavirus, and of course, what to do in case those symptoms are confirmed to be coronavirus. And the good news from the Public Health Emergency Operations Center is that there have been 19 recoveries. So 19 Cameroonians recovered from the coronavirus, from COVID-19. Today it's good news, and to confirm those figures with me is Dr. Eric Tandy. He is a public health expert. Good evening, doctor.
Yeah, good evening, Clarice.
So you can confirm for us that there's been 19 recoveries from the COVID-19 in Cameroon today?
Yeah, for sure. Every day we continue to record more new recoveries as those who were hospitalized are regaining their health and getting back to normal life.
Then, as you heard, that's 19 recoveries, but we also learned that, as you all must be aware of, is that there have been 97 Cameroonians who got back into the country today. They were stranded abroad, and thanks to a special flight that was chartered by the state, 97 Cameroonians were able to get back into the country. Now, Doctor, can you just explain to us, once they get back into the country, it's automatic screening has to take place. How is that playing out at the airport?
Yeah, Clarice, as you know, just in line with the head of state measures and the concern he has on Cameroonians, he has now organized Cameroonians that were abroad to come back home. And this coming back home coincided with the intervention, with the offer he gave with the rapid test kit. Instead of quarantining these individuals for longer days, we now have very short period to go with a rapid screening test for COVID-19, which therefore means that right at the airport, we are able to identify those who will be able to go home and those who will be able to go for treatment if necessary.
Now, Dr. Tandy, talking about the rapid test kits, what happens to those who test negative? Is it automatic clearance, or they just hop into the next taxi and get right back home? Is that what happens?
No, before getting to that step, Clarice, there is what we call counseling and clear explanation to this individual for them to understand that the fact that you have been tested negative is not a full guarantee, but you have to get back home with clear information of self-quarantine. I think this time measures have been taken very clearly to explain to this individual the importance for them to go at home and quarantine themselves for the safety, not only for them, but equally for the safety of their family members and the population around them. And for those who test positive, and then clear measures have been put in place. Good centers have already been set, isolation centers that will take care of them. I think it's no longer news for us that these measures are already put in place.
Dr. Eric Tandy, thank you for your time. And Ben, you heard 19 recoveries from the COVID-19 in Cameroon. It's good news for everybody. But of course, vigilance and more responsibility on the part of the population has been recommended. Wash hands with soap, use hand sanitizers as often as is required, and of course, observe social distancing. From us here, back to you in the studio.
Thank you very much, Clarissa Ray Takang, and that message cannot be overemphasized. The killer pandemic is still very much around, and Cameroonians have got to be on the watch out. We continue the news now to say the CPDM member of Senate for the Littoral, Armand Bell, has been up and about sensitizing women of the Vuri division on the COVID-19 prevention measures. Her 4-day sensitization campaign targets some 800 women in that part of the country, as we hear in this report with Bidmia Atang Tabara.
Senator Armand Bell, who also doubles as the president of the WCPDM for Vuri 1, has since Thursday rallied women of all walks of life as well as medical experts to educate them on how to stay safe during this period of the coronavirus. The health experts sensitized the women on the dangers of the virus, what to do if they observe the symptoms, and also the preventive measures. The seminar that brought over 800 women together is a singular initiative of Senator Armand Bell. There's need for information to reach everyone. If I were the Minister of Public Health, I would have spoken with a loud voice. But it is necessary to leave those of the medical field to speak, since they know the right words to use. I appreciate the Minister of Public Health for having put at our disposal the medical team for the whole week. At the end of the seminar, the women returned home with gifts. At the end of the 4-day seminar, Senator Armand Bell was fully satisfied of having reached her goal of educating over 800 women plus the world on the coronavirus pandemic.
The third military region of the north is at the COVID-19 war front too. The military has deployed efforts to prevent the disease in the barracks, but also in the streets where they see the strict respect of government measures to counter the spread of the disease being flouted. Wilson Mengale tells us more from Garua.
Preventing the spread of the ravaging COVID-19 disease is the preoccupation of the military in the North region. Measures put in place by the 3rd military region are intensified daily. I went down with my staff to the field to explain to the soldiers and the forces deployed on the importance and necessity for them to respect the hierarchy and the Ministry of Defense. In the entrances of all of the garrisons in our area of command and also in our bases, we have placed water, soap, and sensitizers. Field operations are being carried out to ensure that soldiers and the population strictly respect the measures put in place by the government to check the spread of the coronavirus. All our soldiers deployed in the field wear masks. It's obligatory, and all those visiting us are also dressed in like manner. We've gone a little bit further in that those who have just been transferred in our region have been quarantined. We've given them 14 days so that we'll observe them before they can now regain their offices, and then they can now continue their activities. As all join hands in the fight, the wish of military officials in the north is to see a COVID-19 free region.
On the 14th of May 2020, the President of the Republic signed 3 decrees creating, organizing the National Advanced School of Engineering, Yaoundé, transforming the Faculty of Industrial Engineering in Douala and the Higher Institute of the Sahel in Marwa into National Advanced Schools of Engineering. The objective is to modernize the quality of training and enable graduates direct access into the national order of civil engineering. Cynthia Saptala sat down with the Minister of State, Minister of Higher Education, Jacques Famundongo, for an explanation on the innovation.
The 3 decrees organizing the National Advanced School of Engineering, Yaoundé, and creating one in Marwa and Douala will now provide students with a more modern and professional approach with emphasis on practice.
This high school can train students in 2 courses, academic courses. The courses of engineering is training engineers, and the courses of doctorate or master in scientific engineering level. Before, the National Order of Engineering did not recognize the diplomas from Faculty of Industrial Engineering, which is now National Polytechnic School of the University of Douala. Now, the decree of the head of state allows these students to be recognized.
With the new orientations made by the head of state, innovations such as e-learning is officially instituted with the new academic year, as well as training possibilities for working students.
Students will produce a lot of things because they are engineers and they must produce. If these decrees, the head of state has decided fundamental change in the training in these schools. Enterprises want graduates who are able to work quickly in the enterprise.
According to the minister, these changes are a major improvement in higher education in Cameroon at a time when training is being tailored towards professionalism, so it meets the needs of today's job market.
The Cameroon Debt Recovery Corporation, the SRC, shall henceforth recover claims arising from pecuniary sentences passed in courts in and out of Cameroon. This is a new prerogative assigned to the SRC in the latest presidential decree reorganizing that corporation. In our special focus on the new duties and responsibilities of the SRC today, we highlight its core activity, which is debt recovery. And our man on that beat is Charles Tembe.
Be it for the recovery of contentious bad debts or loans entrusted to it by public or private sector institutions, the start-off point is always an amicable negotiation between the SRC and the debtor.
It can therefore make some proposals in order to pay back the loan he has received. When he has made his proposal, we analyze, we go through those proposals in order to draft a protocol d'accord by which the debt will be recovered.
The recovery job could be easier when such negotiations are fruitful and the debtor honor his or her engagements, failure which may lead to a litigation procedure.
If there is a surety, we can immediately engage a procedure for foreclosure.
In the forceful recovery procedure that may ensue, the SRC could make good use of the preferential right of treasury that gives it the prerogatives of state authority.
The general manager of SRC who issued a distraint to enable a SRC staff to owe and recover the debt. And the particularity of this procedure is that we are not going through jurisdictions.
Since the liquidation process of the defunct Crédit Agricole and the Banque Méridienne BAO Cameroon, over 50 billion CFA francs has been recovered and paid out to over 10,000 former customers of these banks.
Now I want to sports, and as I was mooting it in the headlines, the 2019-2020 Football Championship in Cameroon has been called off by the country's football governing body, PATYCHOU, owing to the mounting pressure from the killer virus, the COVID-19. The decision propels PWD Social Club of Bamenda, champions for the 2019-2020 Elite 1 with 49 points, while two clubs will climb to Elite 1 next year without any League 2 club dropping into the inferior league. The decision was announced in a teleconference in Yaoundé today by the FECAFOOT Executive Bureau, as we hear in this report with Baldwin Sama.
It is a decision that was highly awaited by the football family in Cameroon, a decision to cancel the present football season due to the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic. The wait may have been long, and a decision crowning PWD of Bamenda as champions of the 2019-2020 ATOGHO Football Championship is welcome.
Big news for us. It's where we I'm sure the entire population, supporters of PWD Bamenda, the population of the Northwest, we get this information as with a lot of happiness, euphoria. It summarizes the hard work that has been done since the beginning of the season.
PWD of Bamenda therefore wins her first major silverware in her 58-year-old football history in Cameroon. Before cancelling the championships, Elite 1 and Elite 2 players had been subjected to individual training sessions at home with particular exercises.
I woke up very early in the morning. I have 40 to 45 minutes jogging. I have some press-up which I have to do. I have some abdomen, some technical and tactical skills which I have to do.
Others met with their coaches to receive football lessons at home with no salaries paid.
The financial situations of most players around are not the best. No salaries, no training, no money for after training.
Club presidents, despite the cancellation of the championship, will still have to deal with players' salaries. That remains a difficult equation.
We have to be paying those players. Those players that don't have any other source of income. We have to make sure we pay them. We have to make sure we address some of their issues.
Players of both the Elite 1 and Elite 2 football championships and the Women's Football Championship in Cameroon will therefore have to wait for the next season to see which teams excel and get crowns at the end.
Still in sports, the construction works on the Olembe Sports Complex now stands at 80%, while those of the Annex Stadia are rated at 89%. The assessment was made in Yaoundé today by the contractors of the Canadian firm McGill Construction during an inspection visit by the Sports and Physical Education Minister, Narcisse Moelle-Kombi. The minister used the opportunity to express satisfaction with the pace of or the progress of the work so far, pressing on the contractors to keep the pace of work and complete the belated project in record time. Romeo Kenya reports.
This is the new look of the 60,000 capacity seater Olembe Sports Complex. The tribunes are set, painted in national colors. The germination of green grass on the main playground is the latest revelation. On an inspection visit to the football facility, Sports and Physical Education Minister, Professor Narcisse Moelle-Kombi, alongside Central Regional Governor Nasiri Paul Bea and the Canadian High Commissioner to Cameroon, Richard Bale, took turns to assess the rate of construction works.
Things are moving well in spite of the coronavirus context. We are expecting more progress in the next weeks.
Aside roofing the main stadium, electrifying dressing rooms and toilets, the evolution of works on the next stadia is equally impressive. Constructed by the Canadian firm McGill Construction, the Olembe Sports Complex is a symbol of blossomed diplomatic ties between Cameroon and Canada.
Fruitful relationship that Canada and Cameroon have together. We're very, very proud to see our companies moving into the infrastructure.
The over 1,000 employees charged with the erection of the football jewel are poised to meet deadline.
We are almost 88% for the two annex stadium, and we are almost an 80% for the main stadium.
Upon completion, the football arena will be one of the largest across the African continent.
And now on to this other sports brief before we part ways. The death has been announced of Philippe Rodon, one-time head coach of Cameroon's indomitable Lions. His death was announced this Tuesday by his family. The 69-year-old French tactician who coached Cameroon between 1991 and 1992 will be remembered for leading the indomitable Lions of Cameroon to the 1992 African Cup of Nations semi-finals. That's why we'll leave it for this evening. Thanks for your kind attention. We'll be back with more tomorrow. And until then, it's good night from the entire group.
CRTV News, ici, toute l'info.